Previously in X-Men, as Loki's malicious machinations to harm Xavier's students come to fruition, the junior team, known as the New Mutants, are each enchanted to become entrenched in an existence deep within the 9 realms of Asgardian lore. And just to cause even more pain to the mutants that recently defeated him in the Canadian North, shouts to Canada, Loki has cast a spell on Storm and placed her at his side as a trophy, plaything, and lackey. If the god of mischief gets his way, Storm's friends and family will be none the wiser, and he won't have to face the fury of the Uncanny X-Men. I am Jason Lapidus.
And I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 128 of our ongoing Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic, as we read Uncanny X-Men Annual 9 by Chris Claremont and Arthur Adams, cover date of 1985. Chris, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thanks. I was live streaming last night over at Toying Around. We were talking about Alpha Flight and Alpha Flight toys, and Kevin from Toying Around had this idea to make Alpha Flight great again. I'm like, oh no! And I had a hot take on everyone identifying, Wolverine and Alpha Flight, and by extension then Deadpool too, as Canadian characters when they are, my take already. These are characters, made by an American company by Americans for American readers, and maybe I'm going to choose my own things to identify with as opposed to their version. Like, I don't think anyone in Japan is like, hey, our national hero, Sunfire. You know what I mean?
Jerkiest jerk ever to jerk.
Like, Japan creates a gajillion amazing characters and heroes to follow. I don't think they're too worried about what the Americans have to say about Japanese heroes. That all being said, I do love my American heroes. No question, right?
Of course.
Movies, comics, cartoons, etc., including, but not limited to, the Uncanny X-Men. So yeah, that was a fun night last night. Fun to have a hot take, in good fun and push a button here or there. So that was good. And it's been a lovely Canada Day long weekend up here. And I'm hoping, I guess we can wish happy Canada Day weekend to our Canadian listeners, and happy 4th of July upcoming to our American friends and listeners. And everyone else around the world, happy Tuesday. Have a great summer.
Unless you choose another week, things happen. I don't know. Yeah.
True. Unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere, then enjoy winter. Hope you're having a good time.
Right.
Yeah? Yes, of course. We must all can't be too hemisphere centric. You know what I mean? We have to be mindful of everyone's different locations. Before we get into it, and before we talk about, as you were just reminding me, the recent X-Men movie reveal of a new character in the upcoming Deadpool Wolverine film, let's say hello to Allie. Happy Tuesday, awesome nerds. Yeah, that's right back at you. Chuck says, if it's Tuesday, must be X-Men. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Michael, hello, everyone. Must be X-Men, definitely. So Chuck says, sorry for beating you at baseball on your national holiday. Oh, Chuck. Don't worry about it, buddy.
Chuck, listen. Let me listen. Do you know what we were talking about sports-wise on our national holiday? The National Hockey League free agent period. That's when all the free agents and all the teams signed people. So, while yes, Houston did defeat our Toronto Blue Jays. That's true. We were stuck talking about different signings and signings that were made and signings that weren't made because we're just so hockey mad up here. So
at least, you and I definitely are.
Absolutely.
Barry says, greetings, everyone. And Massimo says, hey, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you're well. Connected to that, Chris, and baseball in Canada Day. Did you ever get a chance to see the two Canadian teams play once they opened up interleague play?
Did I ever get to see the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Montreal Expos?
Montreal Expos on Canada Day.
No. Did you?
I did. And I don't know how many times that happened, but it was.
I don't think many. Like I
mean that window was small where they had Interleague
very
play
small.
and the Expos.
Yeah.
I got to see, at Skydome. I think it was still called Skydome at the time, and Clemens was pitching for the Jays.
Ooh, all roided up and ready to go.
And both pitchers put on a clinic, and I forget who was pitching for the Spos, but
was it Martinez?
You know what? I no matter what you say, I'm not going to remember. I was either way. I don't remember, but they both pitched a heck of a game, and the Toronto fans were given the Expos pitcher a really good, like lots of due respect and standing O's and everything. It was an awesome pitcher's duel on Canada Day. It was great, a great memory that I have that's very spotty about it. But that being said, tell me about this new reveal in the Deadpool Wolverine promotional commercial.
Okay, so this weekend, promo cut, not really a trailer, just a scene perhaps, whatever it is, drops Deadpool Wolverine. And we're introduced to this movie's version of Sabretooth.
A version. I mean, there could be multiple.
Right, this version, a version of Victor Creed Sabretooth.
Yeah, I mean, it was it not?
And it's
Tyler Mane.
It was played by Tyler Mane, who played Sabretooth in the original X-Men movie.
X-Men 1, was he in X2?
I don't think he returned in X2.
And I don't think he was in X3 either.
No,
but he's so got him for one movie.
Yeah. There you go.
That's pretty cool. I mean, culminating, of course, in the Statue of Liberty battle between Wolverine and Sabretooth.
And again, it's that little, when the little we know about this movie, about who's going to be in it, who's not going to be in it, which characters are going to be in it, which characters are not going to be in it. To drop, no one had really talked about this one. So kudos to the studio and the planning and all those, behind. And then just to drop this one, and it's obviously like it's Tyler Mane. It's clearly, it's an older version. And okay, let's go. This is great.
See, I thought it was great too. I got really excited. I'm pretty sure I sent you the link like right away.
Yeah, you did. I only know about it because of you.
All right, dude. Thank you. But another friend of ours, like, he was not excited at all. He's like, "Look how bad this thing looks. It looks dated. It aged poorly." And I have a different outlook on it, and I'm very excited to see all the little things, all the fun castings, and
totally.
And some like some playful casting. Like, I'm happy to see not just Liev Schreiber return, but like anyone. Like, let's just have again more. I'm just, the only thing I don't really want to see is a million different iterations of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I would much rather see different actors pretend as cameos rather than, like, so for instance, the sleeves on, sleeves off. It's like Wolverine with sleeves is one guy and Wolverine without sleeves is another. I hope that's not the case. I just hope it's battle damage and he's like, enough for this, and gets rid of him. But I'm, we'll see. We'll see. I can't wait. It's less than a month away, dude.
That's wild.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
And can we say we're talking comics, we're talking trailers. I know it's not this show, but you and I both watched
Go for it.
The new Hellboy trailer as well. The Crooked Man, the third version of Hellboy, I suppose, the third property or the third attempt or the third approach, I guess. We had Ron Perlman do 2, we had David Harbour do 1, and now we have this. And I don't know if everyone's seen out there any Hellboy fans, but it's like hell. I mean, I immediately was into it. It's Hellboy, paranormal investigator Hellboy, as opposed to Hellboy, superhero punching everything Hellboy, which I also love. So I was down with it.
Yeah, it is. Although Hellboy is a much more streamlined, like his scope is much more streamlined than like the X-Men per se. Going from the macabre and paranormal and the horror, it's in that darker realm, but there is still quite a bit of variety within it. And I'm used to, the more fantastical, more spectacle, Guillermo del Toro, Ron Perlman one. I've read my fair share of Hellboy books, but on screen, I haven't been able to, in my head, escape that adaptation style of Del Toro. And to think of it as like, oh no, this should be a Appalachian, like, or creepy, chill you to your bone kind of story. The Crooked Man is a very scary kind of story. Like, to go that hard in that direction, I admire them for taking a swing, trying something different. The film style and edit style in the trailer is like automatically signals to me that it's not for me, meaning that like that's not a kind of movie I would watch if it wasn't Hellboy, But now I'm gonna have to obviously go out of my comfort zone, my happy little comfort zone, and watch something that makes me feel unnerved. And hopefully the performance is strong. And I'm not stuck on things like, oh, that doesn't look like it. Like, I'm not thinking those things. I'm just enjoying a good creepy story. But it is so hard to escape Ron Perlman's iconic voice. Given that he also is like all over the cartoons of our youth, like playing Harvey Dent not Harvey Dent, playing Clayface in Batman the Animated Series and many other roles that we love. So he's a huge force to be reckoned with. So we'll see how that plays out. And I already forget, is it coming out around Halloween? Do you remember if it was like a November or October release?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm hoping it's out before Halloween. That'd be really wise if they're able to get it out, that week. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, there you go.
Chuck has an interest. Oh, yeah, go ahead. There you go.
Shut the fuck up, says Wolverine to Deadpool. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we want to. It needs to be rated R movie, right? It needs to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Chuck says, have you guys thought about doing a live stream discussion of Deadpool one week? By that, you mean sort of talking about the movies leading up to the movie?
Or a review, like our thoughts.
Or a review. Now, I know that you're going to be away for a couple weeks, which makes it, and that's right around that time.
When does it come out? The 20...
I want to say the 26th.
Yeah, I'm back the following Tuesday, but I don't know if I'll have seen it by then. Who knows?
Well, maybe. You better make a point.
Maybe.
I have not thought about doing a talk about Deadpool in comic book or movie form, but I'm open-minded to it. Chuck, just to reveal my lack of Deadpool stripes, he is not a character that appealed to me as a reader outside of the movies, as I was not reading comic books at the time. When I came back to comics, I kind of thought it wasn't really my cup of tea. But I couldn't even tell you how many Deadpool comics I've read. Maybe one trade. Maybe that's about it. What about you, Chris? Have you ever read any Deadpool comics?
Yeah, no, not really. Not at all, actually. Probably zilch. However, I think maybe also because of all the characters and all the X-related themes and characters that come out of this movie, might be worthwhile for us to do a bit of a dive. Yeah, as an extension of X Media. There you are.
I think it'll be really hard not to talk about this movie after it comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? The same way we did with the cartoon. I'm down with that for sure. Thanks for helping us with our programming, Chuck. That's a good idea. And we probably will have a million things to say. I do not think I'll be able to take notes during the movie, but that just inspires me to go see it more than once. Especially if it turns out, even if it's as good as the first one or as good as the second one, those are both movies that I watch regularly and would be most happy to hear your thoughts, everybody out there, and just maybe help facilitate the conversation. But I don't necessarily have to be the only one sharing opinions, just me and Chris, but everyone out there, hopefully you'll get a chance to see it, and we will not be spoiling anything for anybody, because it is a really big deal.
No, I'm just going to put my pup to bed.
Yeah, you do that. You have a good time. I'm going to talk about Storm's mohawk.
Do that with the...
Yeah,
okay, cool.
For sure. Good night, pup. So that would be Brioche, the puppy, as opposed to Bijou, the older, stately lady. Chris has two really awesome dogs. So I'm thinking about, the way Arthur Adams draws Storm, and looking at this, I'll show you a comparison here, right? I have my Arthur Adams art books right at hand. So this is one I've got This one came courtesy of Eli Schwab of Cosmic Line Productions, the publisher based out of Los Angeles, California. He's a pal, and I'm really grateful to get this one from him. He was at an event with Arthur Adams, and Arthur Adams signed this one for me. To Jason, you Canadian you, which is really cool. But if you look at the way that he draws Storm's mohawk, at this point in time, it is awesome and has life to it. It's kind of sharp and pointed and very, very cool. Awesome book cover. Yes, it is. It's great. It's a really fun book, not hard to get. This one's a soft cover, but I would say it's not like the premier version of a collection of Arthur Adams. It's focused obviously on X-Men and goes, for those of us who are like hardcore fans, you get like that in there, So his rough pencils figuring out how to map the faces onto this new piece he's working on. Obviously, this amazing. For those of you who know that deep cut, that's a Marvel Age cover. Back when Marvel was producing their own like monthly trade magazine, basically, or trade comic, talking about the new issues that were coming out.
Is that a kid? Was it Beast holding a kid?
You're making me look.
On his shoulder?
Yeah. What's your problem, man? Of course it is. I have this cover. I have this issue. I was buying it at the time.
Okay.
Beast is holding a kid named Artie. And Artie was one of two little kind of Morlocks, but Artie wasn't, I don't think, specifically a Morlock. But Artie would have been like best friends with Leech. They weren't very verbal, and they were both small and other colors. So they were like the two other kids that everyone was always going to protect. And Artie's ability, this is going back, I think his power was that he could project what you were thinking, like up above. So there would be like like almost like a projection on the wall of the things you're thinking. So some telepathic ability, and it manifests in a visual form. So I think he wasn't a speaker. I think he was nonverbal. And where Leech is sort of, yeah. But he was one of those characters that couldn't hide his mutantdom.
Right.
So he was vulnerable, and he's an X Factor character. Like maybe even the first couple issues, the Scott Summers, our initial team of X Factor, find him. So this X-Men book it's cool. It has some reprintings of some key pages, a little bit of original art scanned in. But the reason I brought it up was seeing Storm's mohawk and how like Arthur Adams tweaks its style over time. Like, oh, dude. So you can see the version here on this cover of Annual 9, which is almost like the lawnmower's gone over it and it's really evened off, which is fine. Actually works pretty cool for kind of a Valkyrie helmet almost. But like, look at that. Like that helmet, or sorry, that mohawk. This way. Thank you. It's hard to arrange this. It's so cool and so lively. Really flared up. I love it. There's this awesome Days of Future Past, like another edition cover.
The Brotherhood looks great there.
Yeah, look at those Sentinels, right? He's such a master. He's so cool. I could look at his artwork for days and days and days, and I do. But of course, when I showed last week from Flesk Publications, The Art of Arthur Adams is a much more comprehensive read when it comes to looking at his art and sort of getting his biography, learn a little bit more about his life and the people that influenced him to get to where he got. So Jason Jose says, Storm, very worthy to wield Mjolnir. Let's put a question on that. Like, worthy enough to wield Mjolnir? Question mark? Let's find out. Yeah. Arthur Adams says, by the way, of this cover, that one, that's the full, that he thinks he was being too faithful to Kirby's original cover of Journey into Mystery. I'm just going to say a number. I don't know if it's the right number. Journey into Mystery 81. If that's the right one, I'm not sure. but that's the first appearance of Thor within, like, the Thor we all know within Marvel. Of course, both DC and Marvel's predecessor, Atlas, had done versions of Thor, but it wasn't superhero Thor. It was, villain Thor or, something else, mythical Thor. But Adam says that he thought he was being a little too literal in the translation of, I think with that Colossus pose, that's kind of not cool. And I mentioned before that there were some serious Walt Simonson ticks on this. You can see his signature. He's the inker on this one. So you get a nice blend of both those guys, which is cool. Have you ever seen Walt Simonson's signature?
I can't recall.
It's maybe one of the most memorable in all of comics because he made it into a dinosaur. He was on track for like paleontology is his like field of passion, and so he turned his signature into almost like a long neck dinosaur style shape. And it's really iconic and lots of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. So like last time, we are going to kind of read the framing section, maybe the beginning and the end, but there's a lot going on in the middle, and it is dense reading. Again, it's many, many, many pages, and just to provide, this one's 48 as opposed to 64.
Yeah.
So just to provide a tiny bit of context for what this is, look at it almost like Claremont and Arthur Adams create an X-Men graphic novel. It's 114 pages of original story, which is enough for a graphic novel, no doubt. And Adams is working outside of the X-Men ongoing monthly title to get this done. He draws all the pages. Claremont writes the whole thing. And it's the story that takes place over New Mutants Special Edition #1 and Giant Size Annual #9 for X-Men. And they're both able to, have those projects come out whenever they need to suit Adams' impeccable drawing style and, long gestation period to produce those 114 pages. It took him a long time to get this book done alongside the Long Shot limited series and starting into covers on Classic X-Men. So he was a really busy boy in 83 through 86. And we are the beneficiaries of his unbelievable work. So this is the second half. The first half was New Mutants focused. Loki captures them, tricks them, captures them, puts them each under a spell. They don't all know they're under a spell. Maybe the reader doesn't even know they're under a spell yet, other than a couple of them. But Storm is definitely under his spell. He's playing with her. And if you don't remember, also during X-Men and Wolverine numbers 1 and 2, Loki messes around with X-Men and Alpha Flight, of course. And by the end, he's told he's not allowed to mess with the humans anymore. These specific ones. So he can't really be aggressive towards the X-Men that were present in that moment. I think that's the way he's interpreting the law. So you know how he is. He's such a hilarious prick.
I would agree with you where in terms of not the hilarious, well, maybe the hilarious prick one, but I would agree with you with I read this today and you're talking about the framework and you maybe leaving some things out as you talk about it. I was astounded by the verbiosity of this one, which is saying a lot how much Claremont we've read. I was like, this is wow. Like every page we'll see it and we'll go over it, but most pages are just chock full of dialogue or context or narration or anyway, it's a lot.
It is, and I'm actually looking something up. I heard from cartoonist Kayfabe a few years ago that there was a rule that their editor in the Silver Age and the Bronze Age instituted. I think it was a Julius Schwartz rule about word count per page.
Okay.
And I unfortunately don't have that number written down here somewhere. I wish I did. I know I wrote it down once and had it beside my computer. And it might have been around 230 words per page. And he had it down to something like, 6 panels. I don't want to do the math. All right, here I go. So assuming that each page was sort of about a 6-panel page,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing like, okay, let's just see if it's 230 is what I remember. Divided by 6, so we're getting about 38 words per panel.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, if you were to do that, if you were going to parse it out evenly, it's about 38 words per panel, if that's the number he was going for, and I think it was somewhere around there. And if you kind of play it by those rules, it makes comics really readable, easy to understand, and and Claremont is the opposite of that. And that doesn't mean he can't make or write a good comic, but Alan Moore in his comics always followed that rule to the best of his ability, and he arguably the best writer ever in the medium, from some people's point of view. And he limited how many words were coming out per page and per panel. And he also would be one of those writers that would create thumbnails, like just really like this is happening, page by page. So it was parsed out for his artist to kind of then expand upon. Neil Gaiman's the same way, thumbnails. It's like interesting. You don't have to be an artist to be able to do that, but it just helps control pacing. Like I'm just looking at this. Look at it's all words. It's all words. It's wild. All right, let's dive into this bad boy.
All right,
and experience some all words.
Shall we move in?
Please and thank you.
By the way, before we do move in, the fact that they've captured all the heads on the corner box, pretty great.
Yes, it is. And it's almost unfortunate that none of them are drawn by Arthur Adams. Those are a mix of like John Romita Jr. heads, and maybe Sienkiewicz for the New Mutants. I'm not sure. But they are... Somebody was having fun cutting and pasting because it was literally done with scissors and glue, and I'm not joking around, right?
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Beauty. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! Look at that.
Ah, Misty.
The Thundercats never looked so lame as in comic book form. Those are I loved the Thundercats as a young TV viewer, but these were the worst looking ones. My goodness. So Adams also is the innovator of this as a choice. And if Chris, if you ever go on to read, Generation 1 Image books or books by the first generation of Image creators, guys like this becomes a staple of what Jim Lee does, among many others, on his run on X-Men. And this is the origin of that that motif. Yeah, these team shots. Yeah, it's so much fun.
Okay.
As a reader, I loved it as a kid, like seeing the introduction. You and I have talked about roll calls and liking that as well.
Yes.
But I think the New Mutants look they look badass, even though they're all in this uniform. Even part of their stance seems to express something. Their faces are each unique. And then Warlock abiding by the frame, and yeah, he's the most fun character. Oh my goodness. Anything stand out for you in the interpretation of any of these characters?
Well, sure. So, I mean, a few things. The top image, the X-Men, Shadowcat looks much more a comfortable costume. Like she's been wearing it forever and it fits her. Nightcrawler's got a little bit of some flow going down behind, some hair flow going down. So it looks a little, I don't know, a little older, maybe a little, I don't know, something going on.
Mullety.
Little mullety,
Just a little bit growing in.
Yeah. Yeah. The Colossus uniform. This is now another one. This design. This is the first time we're seeing this one.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the deal is. Like, he just doesn't want to draw the one that Romita's working on, or perhaps it actually predates the one that Romita reveals because he was working on it for so long. Mm-hmm. So he was maybe given the chance to do an update, and since it's a side quest kind of comic, maybe it has no consequences.
Totally. And the rogue hair, which in later panels, it's very apparent. almost reminds me of like this is where they will take Wolfsbane eventually with kind of
Sure.
this hair that's kind of
Are you mixing her up with Feral?
maybe I'm mixing her up with Feral. Speaking of
Okay, imagine that
yeah,
Rob Liefeld comes on to New Mutants and just
right.
makes another Wolfsbane with that rogue hair
So there
and
you are.
calls her Feral.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's what
Right. So
you're
that's
going
maybe that's
for.
what I was getting at. So there you are.
Yeah.
Right.
How dare you mix those two
Yeah.
things up? I
Well,
only found out that was a different character maybe in the
right.
last 5 years.
About 2 years ago.
No joke. I always assumed it was Wolfsbane because it so clearly is just Wolfsbane, even on the same team.
Right. Well, there you go, man. You learn
Yeah.
something new all the time. Yeah, that's what stood out for me from that team. And yeah, I think you're right though. The New Mutants look great, even though they're wearing this singular uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird Cyclops rendering in that
Little bit,
there
yeah.
aren't those heavy shadows on him.
Yeah.
Usually, one of the ways that the pencilers and then the inkers render Cyclops' costume is by creating blue highlights on his costume by shading in areas with heavy blacks. And this is like a much more obviously blue and calm, less action-packed looking outfit. He doesn't look as strong or as dynamic without the high contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I've ever seen someone do Cyclops like this. And Rachel also, it looks like she has a costume on here, which is interesting. Let's see how that plays out. So we don't need to read all the characters' names. You know your X-Men, but I will read out for you the names of the New Mutants in case you are not a huge New Mutants fan, along with the cast that made the book, which is probably notable for you and I and tied to our conversation. Chris Claremont, writer, Arthur Adams, penciler, Alan Gordon, Mike Mignola, and Arthur Adams as inkers. Orzechowski on letters. Petra, I don't know how, Scotesi, colorist, and Nocenti and Shooter as editors, which is the norm for us. So someone is working real hard to do this coloring because it's not easy with all of the details that Arthur Adams brings. And 3 inkers. You know, some of it is going to be done by Arthur Adams himself, his buddy and schoolmate, Mike Mignola, doing some as well. And we'll see if we can spot some, even though spotting Mike Mignola inks in 1985 is not an easy task because he's not as iconic at that point. He's still developing, right? And he's also following someone else's tight lines. And I do not know Alan Gordon. So the New Mutants from left to right. Warlock, Mirage, who also gets called Danny Moonstar a lot. Karma, Magic, who's Colossus's younger sister. Wolfsbane, Magma, who is also called Magma, and who is from a secret
Atlantean.
No, right? Rome. A secret, like, what would you call it? Not a sister city, but like an ancient Roman city that is
like a colony,
thank you, Roman colony, like only discovered, like frozen in time almost, and recently uncovered, called Nova Roma in South America.
Of course.
And we get Cypher, who's Doug Ramsey, and Cannonball and Sunspot, who you may know from X-Men 97. Yeah, Nova Roma. Thank you, Jason. That's it. Cool. Now we got to do a crossover issue that has the 2 team photos. Okay, can we do that?
What do you want to do?
That I want to do this cover, this title page where we have 2 teams meeting just like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay?
That's a great idea.
Thanks, buddy.
Make it happen.
I came up with that idea by myself.
Nice.
One Midsummer's Night. At Professor Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters.
What was that? Who's great? X-Men, we're under attack.
If we are Colossus, I guarantee whoever's responsible is going to regret it. Rogue, you check the grounds with me. Wolverine, there's no enemy. It's Kitty. She's in agony. Her thoughts, her terror, they're overwhelming me. I can't block them out. Nightcrawler, I have to reach her.
No problem, Rachel. I'll have you by her side in no time at all.
And with that, Kurt Wagner teleports from the hall to the room shared by Colossus's younger sister, Ileana, and Kitty Pryde.
Sam Truffel, what's happening to her? This cannot be an ordinary nightmare. Rachel, can you help her?
I have to, Nightcrawler. There's no one else who can. She's too far gone in a trance. Spoken words won't get through to her. I'll have to use my telepathic powers to forge a mind link between us. Wow! Someone calls Rachel. We don't know who.
Rachel!
Rachel! Whatever. Stay back, all of you. I can handle this. I hope. It isn't a dream. Kitty's being hit hard by specific, directed psychic images. Kind of a message, I think, from Ileana. Somehow these two share a primal, subconscious awareness of each other, like identical twins. I'm projecting what she's receiving for you to see. Kind of like I was saying before about Artie had that power of projecting.
Right.
But man, oh man, is there so much ink on the page.
Oh my goodness.
It is unbelievable. This guy got better, I think, with every single week he was working on these comics. Just even the power coming off of Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Just awesome in that first panel on that page. Just, yeah, really, really incredible. Inspired artwork. And she has a shirt that says, I'm not just another... Is it Pretty Face, do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think it's like a Garfield.
Oh, I see. There you go.
Is it Garfield?
I don't know.
I have a hunch. Maybe we'll see it in the next page. And then we get this crazy half page of Ileana, of Storm, of the Enchantress wearing, I don't know what you want to call that.
A lot.
And then, Loki behind her in the Walt Simonson iteration of Loki. I want to see the original art of this page. Part of me thinks this is different pieces of art that were put on the same as like a collage and then reduced, because some of the line art on that Storm and on the Ileana are so small and so unbelievably tight. I don't realistically... I don't think those could be drawn on the artboard of that size at that time. Like, I wonder if they're actually drawn bigger and reduced even smaller. I'm going to look to see if there is an original art of that somewhere, because it is like otherworldly, both in narrative and in rendering. Chuck says she's wearing a Rush kimono. Yeah, wow.
What the devil?
Scott, could that black woman be Storm?
Ileana Nikolovina, what has happened to you? That's her dark child incarnation, isn't it? Part of her that's pure demon sorceress. But I thought she couldn't work magic on Earth. By the same token, Rogue, Storm, having lost her powers, shouldn't be able to fly, yet there she is, and hurling bolts of lightning as well. This could be a nightmare, X-Men, or something far more ominous. We need to find out which.
An hour later, still in Kitty's and Ileana's bedroom,
Storm and the New Mutants were vacationing on the Greek isle of Kyranos. A freak gale has evidently cut off all contact with the island. No phone, no radio, and neither boats nor planes can get near the place. Coincidence, Tovarish.
Ha! His Cyclops is not cool. So far. And I wonder if it will get there. It's this 2-page spread, not a cool Cyclops. But everyone else looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Remember before I also commented that he often puts characters back to the camera?
Yes.
Like this Nightcrawler could have easily teleported a turn to the side. And, it's just a different look. But anyway, it's all good.
That's all right. How you doing, Kitty? Don't ask. I wish I could help. I want to offer my shoulder cry on like Madeline's doing, but I don't dare risk Kitty or anyone touching my bare skin, because if they do, I'll steal their minds and powers. Cyclops, Storm's outfit and that hammer she was swinging remind me of pictures I seen of Thor on those Asgard folks.
Remember what Loki said when we beat him last winter? He pays his debts. Only a matter of time before he settled the score. I guess he just made his first move. Aren't you jumping to conclusions, Wolverine? Loki swore never to do us any harm.
He isn't called the great trickster, the Norse god of mischief, for nothing, Madeline. If anyone can find a loophole in the promise, it's him.
Kitty's right. Those images were a desperate psychic SOS, and every instinct I have tells me Asgard is where it came from. Figures that slime bucket would try to hurt us through the mutants. They're just kids. No match for him.
Xavier's school looks after its own. If the New Mutants are in danger, it's the X-Men's job to go to the rescue.
And so?
No luck, Cyclops. Near as I can determine, so is in Asgard. Who wants the God of Thunder's aid will have to get you there. So who says we need him, chum? We're a pretty hard act on our own. Don't get cocky, Rogue. You may not be the one who pays the price. Madeline, Professor Xavier's in England. Tell him what we've done and where we've gone. In my opinion, the mutant situation is desperate. We can't wait to check with him first. I hate leaving the baby almost due.
I understand. Those kids are counting on you. Don't worry, Scott. I'll be all right. But how will you get to Asgard?
With these lightning bolts. What?
Okay, so we didn't read one of the annuals.
Okay.
And it featured, again, a story that really didn't make a difference in continuity.
Right.
It featured a character called Archon. And if you've watched the entire run of X-Men the Animated Series, which you have, Chris.
I have. Archon
there is a
space
story
Archon?
Where there's a dude from outer space, kind of, who takes Storm as his bride and that whole thing. It's basically from that comic. So, yeah. And Archon's lightning bolts that he uses are in Scott's possession.
Mm-hmm. I love it. These lightning bolts were created by Archon the Empyrean to teleport himself between dimensions. He taught me how to use them. The right combination should take us to Asgard. I love that. The right combination. I'll figure it out. And the wrong combination, where'll that take us, sugar? Don't let Rogue rattle you, hun. We'll be fine. And home with the kids, safe and sound before you know it. Ready, X-Men?
Waiting on Rachel. Oh, boy.
Dr. Leaper. Cute kiddo, real cute. Huh. Rachel, how could you? By the White Wolf.
Before you turn the page, I love how, like, as they're all getting ready for battle, Wolverine is just sitting splayed out with most likely a beer can. Mm-hmm. You know, like, this guy is ready for action anytime. It doesn't take much to warm up. He's just like, okay, cool, let's go. Mm-hmm. And I love that about him. And yeah, this Rogue hair, he's the only artist to draw a Rogue like this at this moment in time. Right. No one was drawing her. Like, she didn't have that new wave, you know, like MTV hair.
I guess.
It is something else, but I think it's going to, again, be a big influence on everyone drawing her after this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fun. Like, does any man wear that until Tuesday? Like, you know what I mean?
It might be flock of seagulls.
Flock of seagulls. Right. Hey guys, what gives? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I got tired of running around in dance skins. I figured if I'm part of the team, I ought to have a costume.
But why? Why that costume? That design?
Why not?
Your stylized bird image, it's the same as the Phoenix symbol worn by Jean Grey. I'd appreciate you wearing something different.
The outfit and the name, Cyclops. I mean to keep them both. I'm sorry it upsets you, but it's also none of your concern. You're married, remember? You may be leading this mission, but you're retired from the X-Men. She's right, Scott. Isn't she? Aren't you over the death of your red-haired telepathic X-Men lover. You
Who looks
couldn't be
exactly like
possibly
me.
marrying me because you're so in love with it. She's right, Scott, isn't she?
Sure. Excuse me, Madeline. Will you look after Lockheed while I'm away? He won't be any trouble, I promise.
Caper's off to a rocky start, and I got a nasty feeling it's gonna get worse.
Ray, how could you be so dumb? You know Jean was Cyclops' first love in your timeline. They were your parents, but in this one she died. Scott married Madeline. They're going to have the baby. Are you deliberately trying to hurt him?
Goodbye, Scott. Oh, Lord, why all of a sudden am I so afraid I'll never see him? We'll never be happy together ever again. Well, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Sure.
Good drawing of her too, but it's fun that like we just read that John Romita Jr. issue 199 where she does take a costume, and this is different than that one as well, but it's still like that. The yellow phoenix in the middle piece is the same, like loosely. But I don't think she ever wears this version outside of this issue. But it's cool.
It's cool. It's cool.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's nice to see her have a proper costume, as opposed to
for sure
a variety of things she's just currently wearing. It's kind of a neat take on the Phoenix one too.
Yeah.
Neat,
I'm not a huge fan of the Colossus costume, so
right.
It's nice to see that Adams gets one. I'm going to say gets one right. Like, I don't mean to be condescending, but you get my point.
Yeah, totally.
Looking at this page too, you see how much work he's trying to like cram in. He's got 7 panels. Like this is a tighter page with 7 panels, and then the words. A couple of those word balloons. You can see Orzechowski's getting smaller and smaller as it gets to the bottom of the one. Especially there's one that. Rachel says in panel 3, she's like, I'm sorry it upsets you, but it's also none of your concern. And then like it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, like a reading chart, because there's so much dialogue. Claremont should learn how to letter, and then have to every word he wants to say he should have to write. Yeah. Chuck says there's no room for editor notes with all that dialogue. Yeah, it is a lot, Chuck. I feel like there's like where's the TH passes, like where's the a scene in Uncanny X-Men Annual 34, like that idea, right? That's exactly the idea. There's Jason Jose asks, how does Scott not see the resemblance to Jean? Yeah. It's comics, man. It's comics. Unstable molecules. That's
Unstable molecules.
And Chuck says, yeah, this is the same guy who couldn't figure out why he looks so much like Corsair. That's good. That's good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice Madeline, but the 6-character panel is brutal by Art Adams standards. Yeah, that's not up to his usual. But, like, again, this is early on, and I think there's a lot of, at least the copy I have, a lot of the color is actually... The color plate has shifted, so the detail is lost. It looks much muddier in the versions we're using today than in the line that Art Adams actually drew. If you are one of those people like me who loves to see his actual line work as close as you can get, pick up X-Men Essentials or Uncanny X-Men Essentials Volume 6. It has this in it and the New Mutants Special Edition 1, along with many other issues around 200 of Uncanny X-Men in the crispest, just black line art, no colors, but is the crispest black line you'll ever see printed on newsprint. It's fantastic. I highly recommend tracking down Essentials Volume 6. Really, really good. Michael says, I don't think any of her other costumes have the metallic feel. This one almost does look kind of like it. It could be gold, but definitely her boots have that metallic. But yeah, the rest of her time, I think she's usually in that like kind of red leather spiky outfit. We'll see. We'll see what
Right.
happens in the coming weeks. Then just talking about color for one sec, what a good job trying to do something unique with the color to express that idea of this otherworldliness.
Okay.
So the fact that we're seeing the X Mansion, the pool, everyone around, while the characters are in regular color, everything else is in those pinks and purples. It gives a feel that something's not right. So what we're dealing with here is I guess we can talk our way through the rest now for a bit. This is a dream. This is her nightmare. This is Magma unable to see the world clearly anymore. She's kind of in this interesting state, and each of their characters is showing a part of their personality that is maybe their fatal flaw that has them stuck there. So obviously she sees herself in fairy form. She talks to Storm for a minute. She sees Cannonball and Sunspot, and they're each talking about themselves, their powers, and how they're happy to be there. You want to turn the page? We can see.
Yeah.
Again, this is all just her dream.
It is her dream. But I want to say too, I really like the idea of Storm as teacher.
Oh, me too.
Or Storm as headmistress, or however we want to put that.
Yeah, like depowered Storm.
It really does work. Depowered Storm as the
New Mutants leader for sure.
Right.
I wish they had pulled that taffy a little longer, and we could have gotten more stories where she does that. And maybe you connect that back to her part of her journey of understanding where her powers sit within her, and maybe they go on an adventure together to find a cure for her. But this is a neat play on that character that we didn't really get to read it in X-Men because it happened in New Mutants, where she is a bit of a mentor as they get away from that mean big dude, the Shadow King.
Shocking.
So we get to see each of the characters expressing an idea that she thinks is real, until she, of course, comes to the conclusion that it's all fake, with a little bit of help. And again, look at all that dialogue, so much exposition. Holy smokes! Each character sort of again reveals the flaw that's being exploited in their circumstances on Asgard, and eventually she is confronted by her buddy Sam, who's drawn incredibly tall. And Ed Piskor said that he thought this page was a Mignola ink because of the way that Sam's legs, like he would do that, the white leg, like at the bottom, sort of fade away into the grass. The colorist made a different choice, but that has some sort of Mignola style to it. But anyway, so she's awoken by Sam Guthrie Cannonball in the real circumstances. So she's figuring out, she knows things now about each of the people's soul through her dream. And she says, like, how can this be? We never said such words. This moment never happened. And Cannonball says to her, you want to read Cannonball's part there?
That's right, Amara. A human girl wouldn't know these things. Best part of a fairy's gift is the ability to see the secrets of another's heart. And fairy is what you become.
No.
I'm here, Amara.
Cannonball, Sam.
You were dreaming, Magma. You're okay now. You're awake. Back to reality.
Quick question for you. This issue is in the Asgardian Wars. Oh, but you don't have Asgardian Wars.
I don't have this in Asgardian.
I keep thinking that because you have a trade that has X-Men and Alpha Flight.
Right.
So a lot of people have these two issues and the X-Men Alpha Flight 2 issues in a nice trade paperback called Asgardian Wars. Because these two definitely feel like they should be one book. With the other one being the precursor. And I don't know why I keep thinking you have it. So if I come across a trade of Asgardian Wars, an out-of-print trade, with a beautiful Arthur Adams cover, do you want it?
Sure, yeah.
All right, I'll get you one tomorrow.
Thanks, man. I also, fun little gag on these pages too is Warlock is the chair,
right?
That Ileana is hanging out in. Just kind of funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Chuck says, so nobody had to be happy with the amount of copy on this page. Was there some kind of breakdown between what Claremont gave Adams to work with and what he had to paper over? They had to paper over with text. You know what? He does leave room, obviously, like the panel 4 on page 8. He leaves room for dialogue coming out of Ileana's face. He leaves room on panel 3 also for it to be over top of his architecture work. But I don't think anyone, especially who draws as much as Adams does at this moment in his life, I don't think anyone is prepared for Claremont to do what he does. So
Right.
Claremont, again, gives plot details, not script details. And once he gets Adams' work back, he then writes script after. That's known as the Marvel method. And Claremont is really, really loves to play. And some pages work better than others. Like, here you go, page 9 works beautifully. That's a great page of dialogue. You know, all the panels work. Sorry about my dog. He's barking at some neighbor.
It's all right. All our dogs are being dogs tonight, apparently.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The Forge. Next page. And here you get, like, if you find a kid who's drawing like this when he's 22, 23, over in San Francisco, like, can you believe they found this guy like a diamond in the rough? And you work with him for 3 years. Obviously, like, you're going to get this guy in. If you show any signs that he can draw like this, you would obviously bend over backwards to get him into the fold and teach him how to work within the Marvel system. Because
totally, what
a gorgeous piece of machinery and like a setting. So we know this space. You know, we're familiar with Nidavellir from the Peter Dinklage scene in Avengers Endgame. No, Infinity War. Pardon me.
Infinity War.
And this is probably the first time it was ever drawn mechanical as opposed to a cave.
Okay.
Every other time someone draws it, including Simonson, it is like, you know, like a dwarf in a cave in the Tolkien style.
Right.
And this looks like sci-fi.
Totally.
And what we saw, of course, in Infinity War was sci-fi as well. But what a great intro panel. So what's happening here is that Eitri has a plan. He had to make that reluctant deal with Loki in the last issue, and he wants to get out from under Loki's foot, and does not want Loki to become king of Asgard. Odin is missing. Thor is on Earth. Our dogs are both.
They're
doing something,
working to each other through the magic of YouTube.
Yes, they are. They probably can hear each other. So Eitri is maneuvering. You know, he's no fool, right? He's a very, very clever and crafty character, and so he knows that Loki, that Sam needs to get close to Loki because he's going to be delivering this hammer that Loki commissioned under threat. So Sam is working the forge with Magma's help, heating things up, these magical elements. You know, there's some semantics going on back and forth. But Eitri is really taken by Sam and his good nature and his willingness to help. And so he secretly makes him a sword that can pierce only things that are non-organic, but non-living. Okay. Knowing that Sam is not a killer,
right?
But he can cleave anything else in two, and an armor that cannot be pierced. What does he say? The mail is proof against any blow, any weapon, and this blade will cleave through all, save that which lives. And he calls him a son of my heart, which is really sweet. That endears both characters to me in a great way. So it's kind of cool. So he's going to do his best. I'll try to do my best, sir. You know, like that kind of. He's great.
He is.
He's great. Now let's see where everyone else is at. So the X-Men have arrived. Do you want to read X-Men pages?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, okay. Elsewhere in the Golden Realm.
Some ride, some landing. I think transition was so rough, I was afraid we wouldn't make it out. You sure this is the right place, Sugar? If it's Asgard, I'm impressed.
Scents and sounds nearby. Troops, hunters, blood.
A wolf. It could be rain.
Ain't likely, darling. That's a boy. But there's no way I'm leaving any animal to be butchered, especially by the likes of them.
Wolverine, hold off. We don't know. Oh, blazes. After him, X-Men. And remember, we need information, not a body count. Who are these creatures? From all I've read, Colossus, I'd say they're trolls. Poor thing. He's alive, Wolvie, but he's hurt awful bad.
I love like all the other X-Men have reached their target and, lay punches and zaps and all sorts of things. Wolverine has not laid a hand on anybody.
No, he was the first one down that hill.
Well, they teleported to cheat and they flew and, they have distance attacks. So, But how good is that Colossus punch? That pose.
Yeah.
Like no one except for Michael Golden.
It's so great. You just see the guy's legs in the end of the panel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. That's a lot to have to draw in one panel. I remember, drawing maybe issue 4 of Creeper 7 had a lot of issue 4 and 5 like characters, all 7 of them or 6 of them running around in one panel trying to like fight off the Landsknecht. It's not easy to do, and I was again using different tools, not nearly as talented as our friend Adams here, but boy oh boy, it's fun to draw a little character. He is so good at it. He is so good.
Oh, totally.
Do not fear, my lady.
A Glaublich?
Mine is a hearty breed.
Golly, a shape changer. Uh-oh. We got company.
What a pity. I came in search of the Wolfen Prince's soul, but it appears, thanks to you mortals, Hela must needs content herself with this paltry band of trolls. Beware, friends. That be the goddess of death. I bid thee welcome to the Golden Realm, paladins, especially thee, Star Soul Firehair. I dated Star Soul Firehair once in college. She was awesome. Thy pedigree is written on thy face. Thou art in truth much like thy dam. You knew my mom? Yea, verily. We were the bitterest of foes. Yet in her time she sent more souls unto me than any who professed to serve my cause. That wasn't her fault. The why matters not, only the deed itself. Glad I am to know thee, child of light and darkness. May thou be all thy mother was, and more. So many X-Men in one little panel.
So many. Look how large Rogue's hair is. It's so large.
If we turn the page, meanwhile, now we get to see clearly that is Storm. And she is being spied upon. We know that she can change shape because she has a pelt of Freya, I think. And yeah, Loki's, doing Loki stuff. He can change her shape. And Warlock is spying on her, which is awesome. And then we get to see what all the New Mutants are up to. Because remember, by the end of the last issue, they were kind of all together. Or most of them were together. And Darkchild, Ileana, is taking on the persona more and more of the Enchantress. She's becoming increasingly bratty and entitled and self-obsessed. Each of them is sort of leaning in a particular direction, and they're not exactly sure what to do. Danny Moonstar is taking on more traits and projecting more of the Valkyrie, given that they are like Odin's messengers to go get souls of the fallen on the battlefield. right? Isn't that their mandate?
Mm-hmm.
So each of these little pieces, like each character is slowly becoming more and more part of in his guardian archetype. Loki obviously spots poor Warlock and hits him with an arrow, and they all freak out and they hop on the Pegasus and go see if they can go find him. Brightwind is the name of the Pegasus. And see, like in the bottom, you see Ileana's like, idiots. Don't they realize I'm the only one who matters? And Wolfsbane is becoming increasingly, I don't know, like diminutive. Like she's feeling less and less good about herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, there's so much drawing happening.
So much going on.
You get Loki talking about his plans. This is also the only time I've ever seen Loki wear this outfit. This is an Arthur Adams outfit, not the one that Simonson handed to all of Marvel to use for a while. This is his own iteration. But look at that Storm smile. Is that not just a great drawing?
It is.
He's really on top of his game already. Storm is completely under his spell. You can see that pelt that she's wearing, the one that helps her change shape. She's really happy to be flying again, right? So he's kind of luring her in with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get back to the X-Men. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
In the forest, wherein Nightcrawler tends to the wounded Wolf Prince and Phoenix reads his mind.
He's lost a great deal of blood, Cyclops. I've done the best I can, but we can only wait and pray.
Odin, the All-Father, he says, is dead. The order of the realm has been upset. That's why the trolls were hunting so far from home, and Hela walks free and unafraid to claim what souls she will. The prince's beloved was stolen by the enchantress's night gaunts, her demon riders. He's been following her trail. Her image is very strong in his thoughts.
That's Rain. Talk about a star-crossed romance. At least this confirms Kitty's dream. We're on the right track. I don't like doing it, but I can't see any alternative. We have to split up. Half a team stays the Wolf Prince till he's fit to travel, while Wolverine, Shadowcat, and Phoenix reconnoiter.
Yeah,
reconnoiter the city of Asgard itself. If we can contact Thor, I'm certain he'll stand by us.
Big if, psych.
No harm in trying. Wow. The home of the Norse gods. Wow.
It's just a caper, Cat. Same risks, same stakes, as always.
I don't know, though. The way Hela spoke to Ray, and Ray hasn't smiled once since then. We don't dare talk openly to her because she hasn't told Cyclops who she really is, which is so dumb and so sad. And she won't use Psy speech. She's the loneliest person I know, and she seems to want it that way. In that, she's so much like her dad. He heard Hela. He must know who Ray is, but he hasn't said a word.
Also, awesome Kitty Pryde face.
Yeah, great. That's a great Kitty Pryde.
Yeah,
agreed.
So good. I love Wolverine just sitting there, arms up, just again taking any chance to lie down, get his rest. So much fun. If you go, you're still on that page. If you look at it's panel 4 this is page 17.
Yeah.
Go back. Okay, thank you. Look at Cyclops has these 3 balloons. The third one, there's so much dialogue here for Orzechowski to deal with that he actually has to bleed into the gutter between these 2 panels to make it fit.
Jeez.
Usually they use the panel border as the edge of. It's not a rule. Like obviously some more balloons can go over, but he just doesn't have the space. So he does something that's kind of unaesthetic. Like it doesn't look good going from panels of 4 to 5. But it's what you got to do. Chuck says it's an all-timer Kitty face. Yeah. Later,
I scrounged y'all some disguises. Love this town. It's got my kind of dress code. See y'all later. Don't forget to write. Where did Rogue get these outfits?
I don't want to know. And I don't want any cue remarks, Pride.
Hey, I like.
You mind me, girl.
I'm sorry. It's just if I don't make jokes, I'll start crying or screaming. Wolverine, I keep seeing Hela in my mind's eye and wonder when we'll meet again.
Sooner or later, darling. Everyone does.
That doesn't scare you?
Never they're going. Only how I go. I guess I've got too much imagination. Oh, that's her. Sorry. Shit.
I guess I've got too much imagination. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm afraid, Logan. No matter how hard I try not to be, I'm always afraid. I don't want to die. Pretty silly, huh? Some attitude for a semi-samurai superhero.
No law against even the bravest hero being human. Come on, let's get to work. I love Adam's approach to his body hair.
Oh, that is, it's like its own uniform. Which is why it's
So
great.
Byrne is the artist that drew him hairy for the
Right.
first time. You know, he was always a little scruff, but
Yeah.
Byrne gave him short and curlies everywhere. Adams has them as almost straight lines, and he is, as they described Nick Tortelli on Cheers, like Carla's one of her husbands. That you couldn't even tell when he took his shirt off. It looked like he was just wearing a black sweater. So funny. Like it's such an approach to Wolverine, but it's really lasting.
Oh, yeah.
Like it made a big impact on people. So then we're sort of back to where the New Mutants are up to as they're dealing with each other. And there's a neat moment here as Sunspot is absolutely living his best life and loving being Asgardian, having ladies all around him. Doug Ramsey and Danny Moonstar show up, and everyone is freaking out when they see Danny Moonstar. They're all having a particularly adverse reaction to her presence, and it's not exactly clear why that is the case yet. And this guy is maybe hitting on her, maybe not, but the subtext is there at least. But she wants to go talk to her guy, and he wants nothing to do with her for the most part. But anyway, they have a mission, and they want him there too. So he comes along as you keep going, and they find poor Warlock. And this is like a neat way of rendering him. So he's been struck by Loki's arrow, and he's broken, but like he's not melted. He kind of just can't hold form after a certain point. And he sees his pals, and obviously they want to help him out. I love his little expressions. He's so cute. And Cypher wants to, help him get his life glow back. But when Warlock sees Danny, like there she is in silhouette, he has a freak out because he understands her. He says, "Maker Smasher, unfriend termination, life and fear flee." Like he's absolutely terrified of her because he knows something about who she has become, what she represents.
Right.
And they don't, again, the other characters don't get it. They think he's just gone crazy. So he's using the last of his energy up to kind of grab Doug and run. And then the Asgardians come and approach. And when she gives them a look, they just cower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how much Paul Smith you see in a couple of these Danny Moonstar faces?
Oh, yeah, totally.
And what a good thing to pull from, I think, as opposed to just taking from Michael Golden or pulling from Byrne or whoever. But throw a little Paul Smith in here whenever you can. I wish that he took Paul Smith's Cyclops and then extended from that, which I think he does later on, truthfully. In this issue, I don't think he has Paul Smith's Cyclops at all, which might be like the all-time Cyclops maybe, or depending on your taste, whether it's Byrne. Up to this point, I mean. I'm not trying to get it in the way of Jim Lee's. But it would be cool if we saw as much Paul Smith in his Cyclops as we do in this Danny Moonstar.
That face, that last panel.
Yeah, it says a million things.
So good.
And then we get back to the X-Men. Elsewhere,
Is that our destination?
yonder den be home to the Enchantress, the greatest sorceress in the realm, save for the Norn Queen Carnilla, whose dread power rivals Loki's. My beloved scent, and that of her companions, leads there.
What?
That's
All of
Rogue.
a sudden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lit his fire. I'll teleport after him. He's in no shape to run into trouble. We're hot on your heels, Fuzzy. This don't look to me like any trouble we can help the boy with.
X-Men. C'est incroyable. C'est un miracle. How do you pronounce it? Like miracle?
Miracle.
Miracle? How do you say it?
Miracle. Miracle.
Miracle. Yeah. We know what the word means. Yeah.
That's true.
It's so cute seeing the
It's
two
not.
wolves, like,
Yeah, it's cute.
little hearts there
Circle
running
each other.
around each other.
Yeah. Sniff each other's butts. It's great.
Exactly.
Exactly. Miss Mont, Karma, is that you?
We, Cyclops, alive and well, and overjoyed to see you.
Lord, forgive me. What was I doing? When I saw my prince, I could not help myself. I became my wolf self. I acted like an animal. But I'm not. I'm a girl, a human being, aren't I?
As they made their way into the citadel, tales are quickly told.
When our teams in the city report in, we'll have them join forces.
I don't know who's talking anymore.
It's maybe Rogue. I think, though, Karma, you worry too much about... Oh, no, it's Peter.
Yeah.
I think, though, Karma, you worry too much about my little sister.
This is Karma talking, or is this the wolf? Say that, Colossus, when you have seen her for yourself. This is her inner sanctum. I don't know who that was. I'm just going with it anyway.
Wow.
Do you want to read Ileana? Do you want me to read Ileana? This was a back and forth.
Yeah, it's a back and forth, yeah.
Peter! And the wolves. How appropriate. Karma, I thought I told you I wanted to be left alone.
Ileana? She sounds so much like herself, but there is an aura about her that terrifies me. It must be my imagination, and yet...
Most of the ex-babies ran off a while ago and left me pretty much on my own. Silly mewling brats. So who needs them? You arrived at the right moment. I'm about to cast a locator spell I found to zero in on Aurora. We can nab her and be gone before Loki suspects.
Ileana, wait. You can't take chances.
But even as Cyclops cries his warning, a burst of energy fills the chamber and...
Silly geese, to think the Enchantress's wards would hide thee from mine eldritch sight, much less protect thee. Fascinating. I charged fair Moro to make the X-Men her prisoners and slay them horribly in my name. However, it appears these mortals have turned the tables on her. I should have known if a thing needs doing well. 'Tis best done by oneself.
Yes. Best. And now we get a really nice scene in the city. Which, like the ruins again. Awesome art. This is just a decade or two ahead of its time. Like no one's drawing like this at this moment. Not even George Perez, who is famous at this moment for his overly detailed work. It just really Hart Adams and Michael Golden, as far as I can tell. In the US, that is. Of course, in Japan, Otomo is knocking out of the park. And other artists are doing unbelievable manga stuff. So no surprise, actually, that eventually the Americans are going to get to read enough manga and realize they need to change the way that they draw if they wanted to impress. Morlock is on his way out, and it's so fun to see him kind of like just melting away, but in almost pixels, like in geometric shapes. And Doug says to him, is there a way that you can absorb the life energy you need from me, like without transmoting me into a techno-organic being? Like just to tide you over? So he's saying, like, hey, you can suck on my blood for a bit. You can be a bit of a parasite and take from me.
Right.
And just don't kill me. And he's like, you would do that for me? He's like, of course, we're buddies. And this is the first time that Warlock goes over top of Doug Ramsey, and it becomes the thing. Like they become Douglock, or whatever you want to call them. Which is so cool. Teach Pass says Adams was channeling Paul Smith faces, mixed in with burn environment, tech details, and Simonson expressions. Yeah, he really is creating a synthesis of which becomes something wholly its own. I think this is going to be what, Kitty talking?
Kitty.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Rachel. Thor's at home, Wolverine. My psi scan reveals that he and Balder the Brave have led the Einherjar, the warriors of Valhalla, into Hell to free innocent souls that Hela has imprisoned there.
Good for them.
But bad for us. There's no one left in authority for us to turn to. So if you are ever reading Thor stuff at this time, this is like when we're going to get soon spoilers, 40-year-old spoilers. What's his name? The Executioner.
Oh, yeah.
Has
Carl Urban.
Yes, Carl Urban in Thor Ragnarok. This is when they go into Hell and to get back out with the souls that they rescue.
Right.
Executioner, who's a longtime rival of Thor, has a opposite of a heel turn, a hero turn, and decides to fend off Hela's, zombie warriors and sacrifice himself by fending them off for eternity. So that heroes can escape across the bridge back to Asgard. And so they will all forever sing the songs of the Executioner at, the name of that bridge. And it has a name that if someone says, I will recognize.
Right.
But yeah, Scourge is his name. Scourge the Executioner. At whatever the bridge is called. And so he's forever there with the M16s, like in the movie, fighting them off for eternity. And so he has that hero turn, which is pretty exciting. So that's happening now in Thor comics.
That's cool.
Yeah. Them's the breaks, Red. Come on, ladies. Let's roll. We got company. Some real familiar scents.
Nearly there, Mara.
I want to go home.
There were times I thought that I could never end.
Yeah, we can just skip over. Again,
Yeah.
It's just more of them talking. So she's being lost into her fairy self. And she thinks she's never going to be human again. That's fine. They're on their way in. And of course, if you turn to the next page, Kitty up top sees him. This is where the colorist really could have helped. Maybe differentiate them from the building a little more, please. They're hard to spot. She's like, hi, sailor. New in town. It's cute. So they get a little bit back together. And then maybe it was clear to you before, Loki captured everybody.
Yeah.
Was it clear to you?
I mean, the blasts go to all their heads. So.
Right. So he captured them all and he's got them imprisoned. Right. And, there you go.
There you go.
Meanwhile...
Now that you are all quite comfortable, I will leave you to bask in the glow of the witch child's soul. It should not be long before such pure and fundamental evil begins to have an effect, corrupting you, recasting you irrevocably in her, and of course, my image.
So much for your word, Loki. Never to do the X-Men harm.
My dear Cyclops, I do nothing. I am being true to the absolute letter of my oath. The power responsible for this outrage is one of your own. That her actions read down to my benefit is but the merest coincidence. However, it seems a shame that Your compeers are not present to share your fate. Methinks I shall send my rock trolls to invite them to join us.
Here too, the rock troll could have benefited from some differentiation between it and the ground and the smoke, because the line work is incredible.
I have work for thee and thine, Rugri. These changelings shall guide thee to thy quarry. Bound to my will, by the collars of obedience, let their natures match the names I grant them, Grimfang and Bleakheart.
Again, maybe the colors, like maybe have them clearly two different colors so that we know one is the prince and one is Rain. But alas.
The slaver enchantment will remain in force so long as they wear those collars, and no mortal power or agency can remove them. Go thou, Rugri. Bring me the X-Men and New Mutants still free. You've made a fatal mistake. Is that everyone?
I think evil one.
Evil one. Chains cannot bind. Or teleporter! Nightcrawler. He's escaping. Not quite. You gave me this chance, Elvin. I won't fail you. By touching me while he touched Zag, I absorb both their powers.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Like that.
Cool.
That's my jam, is characters finding their way out of being imprisoned by, I love that stuff so much. And I love the idea of Rogue being the culmination of like everyone's powers that she can muster as a way to,
which happened.
Everyone's counting her out
5 or 7 issues ago or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I was only in contact for a second. That gives me less than a minute to do the job. Plenty of time. You're done, Buster. Before you can cast a spell to stop me, I'll twist your hair clean off.
I wish. What are you doing, villain? Leave him be.
That voice. Aurora, it's me, Rogue.
No. Rogue is my friend. Loki is my friend. Friends do not harm friends. Deceiver, you wear a friend's form, but in truth, you are a creature of evil.
Too true, Wind Rider. And your destruction hath given me the opportunity to ensure she causes no more mischief.
What, my lord? Was this fiend? Why did it attack you?
Regrettably, there are those who will do anything to prevent the granting of my gift to thee, but pay them no mind. Their best efforts shall come to naught.
Chuck says, clearly Rogue got Cyclops' Buster power. I was thinking the exact same thing.
The image of Rogue in Aurora's mind?
Yeah.
Where is that from? What is that reference to?
From your dreams, bro.
Oh, okay. From my nightmares, bro.
This, no kidding. This one of Storm with the sleepy face. Like, there's some Barry Windsor Smith stuff in there. It's some of his line work. It's neat. Like,
that's
just
true.
The squiggle line under the eye, I think. We don't usually see too much of Barry Windsor Smith in this, but, cool some spots here or there. Man, he's such a good drawer. Holy smokes. I'm just overwhelmed by how good he is. Should we just keep going with all the characters because it's everybody now? They're all kind of together.
Sure.
Do you care which New Mutants you are? Or do you have a history?
No.
You've been reading Sam beautifully and Rain beautifully. Like, you do all the fun accents. I'll take Danny Moonstar, okay? If that's okay with you.
I think you're Warlock too. You always do Warlock.
Sure. Do you want to be Amara or wait a second? Rio de Janeiro is Sunspot. So that's you can be Sunspot? Okay.
Sure. Oh, that's him talking. Okay.
Yeah, please.
How can any city on Earth, even my home, Rio de Janeiro, compared to this? How can our lives there even hope to rival what we can do and have here.
Who are you trying to convince, Bobby? Me or yourself? Hi, guys. Rachel. Care to join us? It's so great to see you. Now Loki's really in trouble. Huh? A spirit face looming over Wolverine. What the heck is going on? None of the others saw anything, only me. I feel so cold inside, too, as if my heart just turned to ice. Something awful's going to happen. I know it. But how? What? Can I stop it? Am I part of it? Every time I turn around, I come face to face with a new mystery, and I don't like it one bit. I haven't even a clue. Wow! The ground! What, no flaming? That skull over Wolverine is great.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think it means, dude?
I still don't know.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
I was like, goat, the horn, but then like, am I missing something?
Madam Web is on Prime right now.
What? What are we doing on this show?
Do you remember how you and I listened to that episode of How Did This Get Made on our ride up to Deep River?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've been wondering if I wanted to watch Madam Web because it's going to be ridiculous.
Yes.
But I don't know if I have the fortitude for a bad movie.
Sure.
But I thought of you when I saw it. Okay, moving on.
Thanks, buddy. I'll probably watch it at some point.
Look at this. You got to turn the page.
Oh, yeah.
Holy Gamboli. Look at this thing. It's almost hard to see all of it. And this is where I mentioned last time about technology. I'll get to that one after I read Michael's comment. He says, I like how the New Mutants mirror X-Men, Alpha Flight. They get all these new experiences, but at what cost? Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it is opportunity for character growth right through these things. So this is where we talked before about artists like Arthur Adams, Michael Golden, eventually, Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, with their inker partners, in that case, Scott Williams. They throw down so much line art that it exceeds the capacity of line art reproduction on newsprint in this decade. Now we can do it beautifully, and it's not an issue. But back then, they're actually drawing too much that it doesn't print clearly. So,
right.
They just don't have the experience or maybe the desire to pull back. Maybe they want to push to the edge of the capacity of technology. But it's really tricky. Chuck says YouTube compression is not doing any of the line work a favor.
No.
You're right. Of course it is not. But even holding this issue in hand, it is not easy to actually see what's here. It's a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So I, again, highly recommend if details impress and interest you, X-Men Essentials Volume 6. Seize the Outlanders, especially the fairy lass. Crumbs. Back off, kids. This is my kind of fracas.
The prize is ours, brothers.
Their machine, it is cold iron. Iron, hurts her fairy form. Just putting that out there.
Right,
okay?
yeah.
Amara. Hang on, girl. Oh, whoa, pooch. Try a taste of these claws. Cripes. The scent. It can't be. So he's realizing that it is
rain.
It's rain. And he gets bit in his right leg, his bare right leg.
Oh, yeah.
By, a dragon. Or something. Well, it's a dragon.
It's a dragon.
Dragon's teeth. Poisoned. Burning up. Blood's becoming boiling acid. Don't think. My mutant healing factor can cope.
Bless you, Eitri. My mail shirt saved me, but won't do any good if this critter goes from my throat and head. My magic sword won't kill the wolf. It can't cut anything that's alive. Maybe a good whack will drive this furball away. Clang.
You see, it hits the collar.
Mm-hmm. Holy cow, it's rain. You got a wolf. It's got In Scorsel too. I beg you, Sam, save my prince, as you did me before he sheds any innocent blood or slain himself.
Just then, out of the star-speckled ebony of the evening sky, here we come to save the day. So, I mean,
Enterprise shows up.
yeah, why not?
It's a
Of all the
warship.
ships.
Exactly.
I mean, there are so many. It could have been the Millennium Falcon. It could have been, like that would have been a fun one where what does Han Solo say as they come out of the
Woo!
I think
It's
that's
all
what he
yours,
says.
kid, or something
It's all
like
yours, kid.
that.
Like that would have been a nice one, considering that's like the purpose of this panel too.
Yeah.
But awesome, you can really feel the flow of the ship, which is great.
Kind of cool to see Enterprise there. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and don't forget, this is before Google Image.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like there were a ton of these references of the Enterprise around.
No.
And I'm going to be such a Star Trek nerd here. This Enterprise in the foreground, that is the one from the movie series. Like it gets an upgrade for the first film, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So anyway, that's the version that's there. It's as opposed to the TV show. I wonder if Art Adams had a model.
Oh, might have.
Yeah. Did Marvel have the Star Trek license at this point? Good question. Good question. I'm going to let y'all figure that one out because I'm not sure. The oversized Discarding Wars hardcover is a must for an Adams fan, especially these pages. Shit, it's oversized. Shit.
Your favorite kind of size.
I'm going to have to look that one up. I do have some birthday money on my Amazon gift card stuff. So maybe that's something I'm going to buy. So I got to look for that. We got to figure that out. Oversized shit.
Oversized.
Now it's just a bunch of dialogue again.
Oh, so much dialogue.
They fight. Do they not fight, or they just end up hugging? What's going on? They work out. They fight off the bad guys, and they get a chance to, hug and work out some stuff.
Yeah.
And they realize they've got to go confront.
Loki.
No other way but just going in. Rain is not happy about it, and they're not going to fail. That's where they're at.
There you go.
Loki in the dining hall, the Hall of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just pick it up there and maybe take it to the end?
Sure.
It's 10 pages.
Oh, geez.
Think we can do it?
Well, let's give her a go. I mean, it depends how much dialogue there is.
You can do it, bro.
Is this, you want to start on the Hall of Heroes?
The Hall of Heroes.
We happy band of brothers, gathered neath the raven banner of Odin, know full well the ways of courage and honor, nobility and sacrifice. All of us suffered in the war against Surtur, and our fair realm, most of all, through the loss of its liege lord, my revered father Odin. But no less valiant than we Aesir were those sons of Midgard who fought by our side. Their forms compared to ours are frail, and their lives as fleeting as their morning dew, yet their glory shall outshine the stars. It is of one such I speak tonight, the best of that breed, whose birthright, dominion over the winds and rain, making her spiritual kin to my brother Thor, was cruelly stripped from her. She owed nothing to her fellow mortals, and yet when the Gahalan horn sounded, she did not hesitate to come to their aid.
He has a way with words. Silver-tongued he may be, darling, but devil most of all.
I saw her fight. She's all Loki says and more.
What does Loki know of honor?
This is Doug. Warlock.
Yep.
This is not a great disguise.
They're Agar the Horrible.
Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
It's karma.
we cannot endure much more of this. I have marshaled my strength. I must either break Loki's hold on Eliana and possess her now, or never. You know that when they're in these situations, superheroes poop their pants. Just let it know.
Always.
Everyone does.
There's so much of that in these books.
The Hall of Heroes with, again, Hagar the Horrible and Hawkman.
Yeah, there's a Hawkman. Yeah.
And is the last guy there like a superpowers toy?
Oh gosh, is there like a cyborg man?
It looks kind of like one of those characters, a red one. I forget what his name was. Anyway,
No need to worry, Rachel. We'll save the day. You'll see.
you think this is a game, boy?
I know the risks. I laugh at the danger.
Do tell.
At least here, if I give my life, it's for a purpose. It'll have meaning.
And it won't back home?
We're hated there, Wolverine. Or hadn't you noticed?
Oh, I see. Earth isn't good enough for you. Poor little muty fella don't get no respect. And Asgard's different.
Here, they know how to treat heroes.
What you're after? That what you're after, Bobby? The glory? No fun being a star if there's no one to applaud.
You've no right to talk to me that way. You're not my father.
True. I'm a man doing my job. And you're a boy chasing a fool's dream. Aurora isn't here because she wants it. She was kidnapped. Same as you kids. And she no more belongs than you. The difference is, you got a choice. I don't even know why I even bothered talking. I guess because I thought you were worth my effort. My mistake. It's your life, Sunspot. You're free to make any kind of mess of it you please. Aurora's who I care about. And who I'm going to wall for.
Warrior, art unwell?
I'm fine, darling. Don't worry about me. Because there's nothing you or anyone can do. Gotta stay on my feet just a little longer. Once the job's done, then I can let go. Again, pooping his pants.
Maybe, the sweat. So he's got the poison, right? That's what.
Yeah.
Maybe if they like add a little bit of that in, like this poison's running through my system, just to kind of refresh the memory.
Yeah.
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 But,
I hear you. Loki's.
Shadowcat. Sean and Ileana are out cold, but I don't think it was me smashing through the wall that did it. No sign of anybody else.
It's right.
That's right. They're close by, Sam. My wolf form scented them. Better shift back into it, Rain. Heads up, girl. And track them down. Oh?
That's weird. Like
it's a weird.
Yeah, did you know Colossus was about to smash her? Like, yeah.
Yes.
We kind of need a whole bunch of words to explain it now, I think.
Yeah. And here they come.
Sorry about that close call, Catchin. Because he's Ileana's brother, Peter proved more susceptible to the spell Loki made her cast. If Sean hadn't possessed her and broken Loki's hold, we'd have all ended up like that. Once he wakes up, though, he should be in his right mind again. Boy, am I glad you guys are okay. The others need us. There's no time to waste.
And really good of Nightcrawler to explain that for us, because that was not clear at all.
Fellow Asgardians, I present a warrior maid, pure of soul, noble of heart, fitting heir to Thor's place, should he choose to reside on Midgard, amongst the mortals he dearly loves. Or Norn's forefend, near return from his quest to hell. Her name is Aurora, which in her native tongue means beauty, and that she is, in spirit as in form. I would have you welcome her as...
You can see just behind, like, little fairy...
Yeah.
Magma is maybe doing that, or who do you think is doing that? Oh, it's telekinetics from Rachel. Yeah. Actually, they have to explain it because they couldn't show. And also, is that Darkseid? In the top right corner on that page? Shoveling coal? Come on, that's Darkseid. That's crazy. And great. That is really funny. Okay. I guess it's Warlock talking now?
I guess.
And Doug. Rachel's telekinetically tied up Loki, Locke. Let's grab Amara. Aurora! Snap out of it. Oh.
Wolverine, something's terribly wrong.
Who are these uprights who dared attack Lord of Asgard?
Who's that guy?
He's just some guy in a collar.
We're Professor
Yeah.
Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. Bub, want to make something of it?
Yeah, he's learning from Wolverine.
There you go.
That guy in the collar, he goes to the country club a lot, and he doesn't like when you.
It's actually Jerry McConnell.
So this page on the left is almost a format just because of having this one long tall panel that has the full figure.
Mm-hmm.
This becomes like maybe not a good thing, but like a template for how a lot of the image guys will continue to lay out pages, because having a full figure on a page, the page can sell for more,
right?
As from an artist. So they love to do these pages with like an anchor image, whether it's a giant face or a full figure. But this is, and he's one of the guys that kind of pioneers that.
Thine intervention, youth, was not entirely unexpected. Rugri, the beautiful, dispose of these petty annoyances.
Rock trolls, Asgard's ancient foes.
How dare Loki summon such as these to this sacred place?
Too many of these buggers to handle on my own. Kitty, if you hear me, come a-running. And again, the colorist could have really helped by having the rock trolls be slightly different.
Totally. I was hoping for somewhat more pomp and circumstance. A celebration to befit such a great occasion, but never mind. This alone is what matters.
So there is like the hammer that is within all of that rock and maybe ore. It was there like magically sealed.
Mm-hmm. Aurora, reach into the fire.
No, Aurora, don't.
Take up thy destiny. For now and evermore, Wind Rider, art thou truly Storm.
And then just an unbelievably awesome page.
Yeah.
That's great. I feel like everything Kirby did and everything Walt Simonson did was like to let Arthur Adams go up one.
Right.
Like he increases the three-dimensionality of the explosion with like he's got like round laser blasts in it too, not just lightning the way that Simonson does it and crackle the way Kirby does it. Like, extra pieces.
Yeah, you're being enveloped.
There's like Mike and Ike's in there of disco laser. Wow.
Yeah. Magnificent. Her hammer is bound to my power by the spells that forge it, and a world by her unfessed blood. Unfessed blood.
Life's blood.
Life's blood, there it is. By her life's blood, which is also known as unfessed blood. None in the Golden Realm, not even Thor, can deny her this place of honor.
Aurora, you're being suckered.
Beware, Wind Rider. Another foe of thee and Asgard. His foul soul cloaked in thy friend's form.
Then my hammer shall strip away his deception and reveal his true nature for all to see. Like he takes that blast straight on.
Yeah.
Like that yellow stuff coming off of him, that's his guts and fluid and skin. Yeah.
His unfessed blood.
Yes. This hurts worse than flaming poison. Take your best shot, darling. I ain't about to quit. This cannot be. How can any shadow spawn show such courage? But Loki is my friend. He would not lie. Storm. He's the god of lies. That's all he does. That was the noise of Wolverine trying to gurgle blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Wolverine is just a mess of burnt and melted everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Ooh. Thou stand aside, goddess of the storm, that Hela may execute her rightful charge and claim yon mortal hero's soul. No. Thy protest is too little, too late. Thine was the hand that struck him down. I do but finish what thou hast begun. Leave him alone. Who? Danielle Moonstar? Back away, lady. I won't warn you twice. Wolverine's dying. Was this what my vision meant? What the heck gives? Where'd that power come from? How could I ever do anything like that? Foolish child. Thou art a Valkyrie, one of Odin's warrior maids, his choosers of the slain. Thou shouldst be standing by my side to aid me, not keeping me from mine appointed task. Look in my mouth. There are skulls inside. Do you see them, Chris? Skulls in my mouth.
My dentist has told me time and time again I must have the skulls removed. I like them.
Dental work you can't find on your mortal realm. Skulls in my mouth. Is that my friend Mist and her sisters? Spirits of my ancestors, have mercy. If that's who I am, what my stay in Asgard has made me, then how I choose to slay you. Presumptuous girl, let this mild chastisement teach thee and any other who seeks to bar my way thy proper place. She gives her a good zap, and those are Walt Simonson like style lines around that big time. Like that effect is very Simonson-esque. X-Men are all just standing around. Why don't they just beat the hell out of Hela? What have I done? Aurora, whatever Loki offered, no matter how wonderful, wasn't for you, but for him. He's using you, darling. Give me what I require, and I shall leave thee in peace. Wolverine is not dead yet, Queen of Hell. And you shall never have him. While Storm has breath and power to defy you.
Aurora was everything she ever was, and more. But even that may not be enough. So let's you and I, young Phoenix, lend a hand with your mind glass and my optic beams.
My curse upon thee, mortals! I'll flay the skin from thy bones. Can you fight the Valkyrie as well? That blow you struck was felt by them. That blow you struck me was felt by them. And here they come to their sister's aid. Oh my God. The Einherjar are at my gates. I must husband my strength to match it against that of Thor, and therefore cannot deal with these upstarts as they deserve. But I swear we shall meet again. The last laugh shall be mine.
Ooh, glad I am that's over. If the Norns be kind, mayhap Hela and Thor destroy each other in the realm below, leaving Asgard in Loki's.
You lied to me. It is you, deceiver, who are truly the evil one.
Wherefore, woman, I promise to restore thy powers. That I have done, and given thee a place of glory amongst the gods. Didst think, Aurora, I could be harmed by a hammer I helped forge? My patience is at an end, and with it your pathetic lives. Says you, Weaselface.
Yeah, Weaselface.
That's right. There may be a score of X-Men and New Mutants loose in Asgard. We know the truth, and so do the Valkyries. Either you call it quits, right now. Excuse me. You send us home with all curses lifted and no more vendetta, or we scatter. You can't catch us all. Sooner or later, somebody will reach Thor or Balder or Heimdall or Freya or the Warriors 3, and poof go your precious ambitions to be big boss here. And maybe a whole lot more.
Way to go, Cat.
Art threatening me, youngling? You betcha.
Norn Keep. Do you want to be... I mean, do we
Sure.
need to read Carnilla's part? This is... and by the way, that is a Jim Lee drawing. I mean, come on. That face on the far right? Did Jim Lee not draw that? It's like a template of exactly how you draw that face. And like Desaad is even there too, by the way. I'm not joking. It's like serious fun from Art Adams on this one, who he's including. So I don't know if we need to read Carnilla's bit. She's probably just relishing in all of it.
Yeah, she is. And who is
Asgard,
by the way? Do you know?
She's like a Norn witch.
Okay.
Like another villainous magical character.
Gotcha. Okay.
Asgard.
Thee and thy companions, Shadowcat, may depart in peace, but all of you must leave. Should one stay, all must remain.
Fiend! Rain is my heart and my life. Thou hast no right to take her from me.
The choice is hers, and the cost. I can't. Oh, Danny, I love him, but I cannot stay. In addition, any powers, gifts, enchantments you have gained here shall be stripped from you. Thy magic blade and armor, for example, Cannonball, will become simple steel, and the spells learned from the enchantress's grimoires, Ileana, shall be forgotten. In addition, thou wouldst return her, I trust, lass, for thy sake, unharmed, from her imprisonment in the realm of limbo. Thou, fair Magna, will regain thy stolen human seeming, though thou makest a most appealing daughter of a fairy. However, I am not so ungracious as to condemn thee, Karma, to the gross form that was thine on Midgard. You may retain your beauty.
Hold, deceiver. By Odin's law, horse and rider may not be separated once the bonding has been made.
Nevertheless, Valkyrie, my will is adamant.
Mist, it'll break my heart to lose Brightwind. I think I'd rather lose my soul. But I won't condemn my friends. Also, Earth's my home. Much as I love it in Asgard, happy as I was with you guys, that's where I belong. Then, spirit sister, take thy stallion with our blessing. A place will ever be set for thee at our table.
On Midgard. Well,
she's a Valkyrie, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. On Midgard, Aurora, thou wilt once more be merely a woman, without the power to fly, to wield lightning, to command the wind and storm. The X-Men and their world hold no place for thee. Let them go. Stay, Storm. Be a goddess. Rule Asgard by my side. But know that shouldst thou refuse me, we are quits. I shall cast thee from my heart, as I do thy comrades from my realm, never to return.
Sweet words. A tempting offer, O Lord of Lies. But Asgard is not your realm, Loki. And I shall be no party, now or ever, to making it so.
You refuse? You dare? So be it. Gather thy brood, woman, and get thee gone. Blessed branches of Tiglosa, what a woman! Almost be worth losing thy throne to win her to my side.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
I'll miss thee.
I wish I could hate you.
Thou'lt ear
Be in my
thoughts.
What Danny said, Sam, made me think. Perhaps staying in Asgard is running away.
Bummer. Think of what we could learn talking to real gods. A Valkyrie. What does that mean? Only a matter of time, I guess, before I find out.
The spell is cast. To thy mentor, Professor Charles Xavier, I send thee. My part of the bargain is fulfilled, Mist.
We too shall keep our word, Loki, and our silence. So far as Asgard is concerned, 'twas a misunderstanding, a good deed gone awry. No wickedness was intended, and none done. But beware, shouldst thou prove an oath breaker, thou wilt answer to us. Just to before you flip, like some of these drawings are not up to the standard of the other ones in the book.
Right.
The one on the far right, first panel on page 46, that does not look like Arthur Adams drew that storm.
Right.
Like the mohawk is a little bit different. The details on her face, the proportions. It looks like someone, like even Walt Simonson or whoever, stepped in to help out, perhaps, or one of the other guys that was credited with the embellishment. Was his name Gordon? Alan Gordon, perhaps?
Alan Gordon.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys stepped in and helped get some of this penciling or just embellishment done from some rough sketches, because a lot of this it's starting to look looser and looser. Even Loki's hand as he outstretches towards Storm, like those details on the hand don't look Adams-esque.
Right.
And then in the last page, it's even more obvious.
Yeah.
No, when you flip. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Aha. Perfect. Much was gambled, much lost, but the great game continues. I endure, and tomorrow is another day, and a mortal has nothing, if not time, to plot and scheme and try again. I will yet have my way in all things Asgard, small be mine, shall be mine, and who knows, perhaps a queen. Until then, fair Aurora, this shall be a sweet something to remember thee by.
Very sweet.
Ooh.
That hand. I mean, yeah. Simonsonian? Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of that. That's right. Darkseid shoveling coal with a wheelbarrow. It's fun that it's in there. Look at that. Hey, David Cutler. How are you? Hope you're staying exy. Made just in time for the last page. There you go.
Classic Cutler.
Classic Cutler. Chris, this was not an easy one to get through, and it still took us 2 hours. Sure, we did have about 30 minutes of build up to get going, but
Still.
it is, and we skipped over most of the New Mutant stuff. It is heavy, heavy, heavy.
It feels like with the annuals that we've taken a look at, it's just kind of, it's a bit of bonus storytelling, and so it's just jam-packed.
Right. And in the earlier ones that we did not cover in the first sort of 100 episodes,
right,
it's mostly because they didn't have an impact directly on what was happening in the main story. But once they start creeping in, you kind of have to include, moving forward, this deeply impacts the New Mutants, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And does this impact the X-Men moving forward? I guess we shall see. But most importantly, it's about Arthur Adams.
Sure.
And he is so profoundly connected to X-Men in his work and in the hearts and minds of fans that you can't not talk about it, right? You gotta spend some time with good old Arthur Adams.
And you notice too on that last or second last page, it says, after Loki sends them away, it's like to see where they ended up. See X-Men 200.
Yeah,
So that's next week.
That would be next week. Yeah, that's the idea. Finally, it right. I wonder if I had anything else in here for us. Oh yeah, there is a little bit of original art you can find if you type in online. You can sort of see a little here or there from heritage auctions, and a few other sources like that. In this one, you can see, for instance, that two of those panels are pasted on, the ones that are white, because they age at they're made of different paper, so they age differently.
Yeah,
so it was kind of neat. And obviously, like Chuck was saying before about the compression on YouTube, you're not going to get great details here, but just know that these things are out there and you can find some of them. This one was in a smoker's home, probably, or left in the sun a little bit, and they yellow big time. You can see where white media was used to do like correction fluid, like whiteout, up on the top right hand side around that word balloon. You can also see where the letters were pasted on top, because there's an additional glue that gets used to, like rubber cement, and that stuff is non-archival. It ages very poorly, as you know, Chris, being a guy from the archives yourself.
Sure.
You were born in the archives and are kept in archives, and you also are non-archival, so you don't age properly. But that all being said, you're doing a pretty good job. Anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there that if anyone is interested in seeing any of the original pages, you can find a lot of it online. It is worth your time. Highly, highly, highly recommend tracking down Volume 6 of Essentials. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chuck says that was a chunky boy. That's a big issue. So that's, again, 44 pages of Annual, and the special edition New Mutants was, 48 pages. The New Mutant Special Edition was 66 or 64 pages as well. TH Pass says, awesome work, Chris and Jason. Much blood was spilled to get through this one.
Oofus blood.
Oofus blood, pardon me. My pronunciation on that stuff is always suspect. I know on Saturday, if anyone is local, yeah, there it is. It's right there. If anyone's local to the Greater Toronto area, I will be at Heroes World on Saturday. It's their 23rd anniversary. It's a great comic book store and awesome action figures and role-playing game stuff. It's a very cool shop. So I'll be up there with a lot of other awesome local creators to celebrate over the weekend. But I'll be there just Saturday, July 6th. What else we want to plug at the moment? No kissing. Give me a little kissing. Thank you. August 17th, we'll be at Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario.
That's right.
And then middle of September, we'll be Guelph at the Guelph Comics Jam, which is going to be
September 14th in Guelph, Ontario. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Good times.
I'm doing a 5-week comics workshop at Richmond Hill Art School starting Thursday.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. 2 hours every Thursday. I'll do comics.
Is that in the evening or is that in the?
5:30 to 7:30 with students grades 4, 5, and 6.
Cool.
Should be fun to do that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And there's also life drawing classes now not life drawing session up at Wayside in Newmarket on July 17th. If you're in the Greater Toronto area and you want to come hang out in the evening with some drawers and do some life drawing. I believe the models they're clothed but costumed, and there's like props like swords and stuff. So I'll be hosting that one up at Wayside on July 17th, I think. It's a Wednesday night. So there's a lot of orbiting things going on.
Comics adjacent things happening.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Oh, don't forget the Mountain Music Festival, March 14th to 16th.
It's true.
Thank you, David. Hey, tomorrow night, are you coming into Toronto to see Wilco at Massey?
I'm not. You're this week, right?
Yeah, I'm going to see Wilco at Massey tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, it's just too much. I think I'm aged out. I need to not go to big Big
Have a nap.
conversation.
You'll be fine. I'm
Have a
napping.
nap.
You'll be good.
Shut up, old man. Just have a nap. That should be a blast. Massimo says, thanks, guys. Always fun. Hey, man, we are so happy to join you while you were getting your work done. So thank you for hanging out with us. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Previously in X-Men. Thank you to my good buddy, writer of Group of 7 Comics and Peregrines, Chris Sanagan. Thank you, Chris. You can find out more about our comics and upcoming appearances at group7comics.ca. Follow us on social media at Group of 7 Comics. And, of course, please click like and subscribe. Tell us your take on X-Men comics in the comments below. Let us know what your favorite Arthur Adams work is, perhaps, or maybe you're not a fan of his at all. Maybe you thought it was ridiculous. And I hope you're all getting ready to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. Right? Let's fucking go. Thanks, bub. And have a good night. And yeah, stay Xy.
Stay Xy, folks.
All right, everyone.
See you next week.
Care. Cheers.